Hey, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the updated role of a Qkids coach. So your coach, if you're new to Qkids or you're thinking about applying, your coach is the individual that you first meet when you are doing Demo 2. So you hear a lot from them during the hiring process, right? They give you feedback after Demo 2, they give you feedback after each set of trials, and then you get hired, you sign your contract, you're like super excited, and you think, okay, I'm gonna, keep talking to this coach, and surprise, you may not hear from them after you sign your contract. It is possible that you will get some more feedback within the first few weeks of working with Qkids. So if you're having a hard time, or if they just have some tips for you that they think would be beneficial at the beginning to kind of get you into that way that they want you to teach, they'll reach out to you. But here's the general rule. No news is good news. And some teachers just can't stand that, but I actually love it. I think the silence is great because it means I can do my job with limited interruption. It also just confirms to me that what I'm doing is working. What I'm doing, the parents like, the coaches like, Qkids is just on board with the way I teach. So, no news is good news. Now, I started in January, and it's July now. I think I've heard from my coach maybe 4 times since January. And that's probably an exception. Some people have said they haven't heard from their coach in like a year. It seems odd, right? But it's not. It's not. They have like 100 different teachers under one coach. The only time I heard from my coach was when I was asked to do a couple secret pilots. So a pilot is like a different type of lesson or curriculum, and they have teachers come on board and they ask them specifically, here's some material, can you study it, and then can you teach these lessons? And it's a pilot phase so that they can kind of work on the lessons before they put them out for everybody to teach. So there was a couple times when she reached out to me requesting that I do that. And then also she requested that I teach phonics and then for the science lessons. So those are the only times when my coaches reached out to me, and I'm fine with that. I actually hope it stays that way because it just makes it easier. And if you're always worried, like, am I going to get a message today from my coach? It can just be kind of a lot of anxiety. So in general, that's what you should expect. Pretty much no communication unless, number one, you have a question, because you can always ask your coach a question or for some feedback or clarity if you need to. But unless they're asking you to do another type of class, you probably won't hear from them. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was that in July, Qkids sent out some official posting about what the role of a coach is, because I think that the coaches were being bombarded with people when they would get a red tag, they'd get upset about it, and they would say, can you review my class? Could you imagine if 100 teachers, you covered 100 teachers, and you got messages every week, can you review this class? Can you review this class? I got one red tag. And teachers did that because coaches were removing red tags. But I think Qkids was like, we're done with this. Like, we can't continue it this way. And that makes sense to me. So the new role for a coach, as told by Qkids, they're supposed to orientate new teachers. So that's right. They're doing Demo 2s. They're giving feedback during trials. They're orienting new teachers. They're supposed to review classes to give professional input upon teacher request. So if you do have something happen, maybe you get like a tremendous amount of red tags and you just don't understand what you could have done better, then you can reach out and a coach will review that class and give you feedback. I do advise you make sure that it's worth it, because you don't want to be under the radar for negative teaching. Just saying. Just some advice. And then sharing general information about opportunities and learning resources. So that is when basically they're asking you to do a different type of class. They'll reach out to you. And then it says, FYI, as needed, coaches will need to send messages to individuals in order to share records about parent-written feedback. So parents usually just use the feedback tags, but I guess that there is an option that is rarely used. So if something happens during class and a parent is extremely concerned, they can write, and then the coach has to approach you about that. But that would be a very rare and kind of serious situation. And especially it says if there's multiple concerns about the same issue. This also has to do with tags. So if you get a lot of consistent red tags, then your coach is going to reach out to you and often provide feedback and steer you in the way of how to train and how to change so that that's not an issue anymore. Also, it says teachers should not expect coaching staff to interpret or remove tags, but they may ask for a review or input on teaching in general. So if you are concerned, you can reach out and say, hey, I'm getting a bunch of these tags. Can you give me some insight as to what I can do to improve my teaching? But like a one-off tag, I would just look at it, self-reflect, and move on and not bother your coach about that. Anything else? So this message does really push for teachers to look at that new categories under reference teaching categories. It is the core competencies. It's under the teaching tab. It's like the third option down. And basically it lists all the different tags, right? What they're called, approachable, teacher language use, so on and so forth. And they have tips underneath it as to what kind of falls into that category. Now, the interesting thing is parents don't see these. Like they don't see what's listed under each category. So let's say professional presentation. Qkids has a bunch of different things that you can work on and tips that you can do to get more green tags for professional presentation. But a parent doesn't understand what Qkids considers professional presentation, so it's their own interpretation. And a lot of times this is where the mishap happens and people are like, I just don't understand why this parent gave me a red tag for this. Like it doesn't make sense, it doesn't fit. Well, it's everybody's own opinion for the parents because they're not guided by Qkids. But we are guided to help us teach in a way where we can get these green tags. And these core competencies basically make up excellence in teaching of the Qkids curriculum, what they're looking for. If you haven't seen these core competencies, please make sure you read over them before you start teaching with Qkids, or even if you've been teaching, it's great. It's a great refresher. And actually there is Dr. Susan Mosher is her last name. She has a YouTube channel and I'm going to link you below because she goes over each of the core competencies and it's totally worth it to improve your teaching. Basically, she'll go over each tip and give you examples of how to improve or what they're looking for each and every feedback tag. It's worth watching. So I'll link it below just for you. But anyway, so no longer are coaches supposed to be used to just remove tags, look at everybody's individual tags. They're doing more hiring. They're, dealing with issues with parents and specific to teachers. And then they have classes that they have to review. I'm sure they're on a schedule. When I had to do reviews when I was in management, right? There's a schedule. And so, okay, on this day I have to review this many people, on this day I have to review this many people, just look at random. And that way they can kind of get a feel still of how their teachers teach. But as far as like removing red tags and all that, it's done. Don't bother them. It's not worth it. Self-reflect like they're telling you to do. Watch the trainings, watch a bunch of YouTube videos because like Dr. Susan Mosher, she gives great tips. And there's a lot of other teachers on here that have excellent content that can help you along this journey. I mean, I learned from the ground up. I have presentation experience. I have management and sales experience. But as far as like teaching, I don't have an education degree. I have an MBA. So this has been a learning process for me. And I just take all the help that I can get, right? So that's what I would suggest to you. But again, this video kind of goes over what the new role of a coach is. Qkids provided us with great clarity on that. So make sure that you understand before you message your coach, are you doing what they're asking you to do? Are you self-reflecting? All right, so thank you for watching. Please check out some of my other videos. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell button so that you'll be notified whenever I put out a new video. Again, I appreciate your support. Thanks so much and happy teaching.